friends, and welcome to the Lovely Place channel. The channel that's like a box of chocolates because you never know what you're going to get. Today's film is the third episode of the Dobie's Seeds story in 2024. The first film covered the unboxing of seeds I'd ordered online from this company in January and the initial preparations and plantings. The second film in March showed sowing inside and planting outside when the ground was really soft and I got stuck in my chair. Talk about armchair gardening. Now, here we are at the start of May 24. It's been officially the wettest year so far since records began. Everything has been very slow to germinate. So slow, in fact, that my patience got the better of me, and one day, in a fit of temper, I sowed the seeds of the cornflowers, night-scented stock, and phlox in the bottle garden, where they're supposed to grow according to the instructions on the packet. But I didn't weed the area first. I suspect they won't be able to compete against the weeds, but we shall have to see. The difficulty with the bottle garden is that I have my spring bulbs here, but the ground is also full of dockens, buttercups, nettles, thistles, ground elder, and mouse tunnels. Every time I try to weed, I end up trampling the bulbs or pulling up the wrong plant, and all that activity just stimulates the weeds to grow more vigorously. So this time I'm using a different method. I'm just going to plant the stuff I want on top of the weeds and see what happens. I've stuck bamboo canes next to each plant to try and mark the spot where there's supposed to be a plant, and bamboo canes around the edge of this area to stop my husband raising it all to the ground with a lawnmower. To protect my eyes from getting poked out by the canes, I put vintage bottles that I find while digging over the ends of each cane, hence the reason this section of the garden is called the bottle garden. This year I'm going to plant the beans and peas inside these tyres put on top of the weeds and see what happens. The plan is that at the end of the growing season I'll just remove the tyres and spread the compost out, ready for the bulbs in the spring. We're lucky enough to have a little patch of bamboo that I harvested for the canes, and it's taken 6 50-litre bags of compost to fill the 3 tyres. So let's get right to it and bring you this May update. The raised bed that looked so neat back in March is coming into life. The problem is that there's loads of hogweed seedlings in there that have got to be one of the strongest and most resilient weeds ever. They have a very long taproot that, if you don't completely dig out, will sprout from the broken tip with more plants. The more you try to dig them out, the more there are, like the hydra, the stuff of Greek legend. This year I've decided I'm just going to pull off the leaves. It might take a few years, but the plant can't grow without the leaves getting energy from the sun. We shall have to see what happens. I was very chuffed to see the asparagus has started to push through. The beans and peas are also sprouting, so I took the executive decision to remove the netting protection, and we shall see what happens. At the top end of the bed, I have what I fondly call the Lovely Place peony collection. I leave the wire supports in all year round so I don't forget that there's something planted there. There's 3 supports but 4 different peonies. I got a tiny one last year from a car boot sale, and as I was doing the weeding I discovered it struggling under the massive big green one. Later on this year I intend to plant the runner beans next to the peonies and see if I can train them into an arch. I also have a pagoda type of structure I'll try growing them up too. Today I planted some sweet pea seedlings round the pagoda. A friend gave me 13 seeds which all sprouted. As you can see, I'm planting them with some of the sunflower seeds and antirrhinums and nicotianas. Unfortunately, my fat clumsy fingers snapped one of the longest sweet peas, which was very frustrating. I put my other seeds to soak while I sorted out getting pots ready. I've got all my beans and peas and planted them in egg boxes. Why? Well, if I have too many, I can give them to friends, and the egg boxes degrade, so I can just bury the whole box without disturbing the roots of the plants. That is, if they sprout in the first place. The few seeds I planted in March have been a bit disappointing, so I sowed the rest of the seeds over the top and plan to leave them outside to harden off. There's the oyster leaf plants. Very disappointing, I'm afraid. The broad bean plants I've been growing in the porch are flowering, but very weak and straggly. The only insect on them was a wasp, so I've decided to leave them outside too and see what happens. I've taken the rest of the sunflowers and planted them in pots. Everything from Dobie's has been planted now in one way or another. So please tune in again in a month or so for the next update. Thanks so much for watching till the end. Happy gardening, everyone. Please tune in again in a month or so. Thanks very much for watching till the end. Happy gardening, everybody, and bye for now.